Tēnā koutou katoa, everyone, and welcome to the University of Otago Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science webinar. My name is Victoria McInerney, and I'm from one of the international marketing recruitment staff members in the international office, and I've got a wonderful panel of guests, students and staff members, and so we'll go around and just quickly introduce ourselves.
Hi everyone, kia ora. My name's Arlene McDowell and I'm the Director of the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science degree here at Otago. I'm very pleased to be here today and I'll introduce you to one of our student members today.
Hi, I'm Lily Chia from Malaysia, one of the pharmaceutical science students of final year.
Hi everyone, my name is Sing Li. I'm from China and I'm currently in my second year of pharmaceutical science.
Oh, it's lovely to have you both here. Thank you. We've got quite a big agenda to get through, so we're going to get straight into it with, first of all, why the beautiful and wonderful University of Otago. So the University of Otago is New Zealand's oldest university. It was established in 1869 and we've been teaching students for about 156 years now. We're in the top 1% of higher education institutes in the world, and we're really proud that we're one of New Zealand's top performing universities for student academic education performance. What does that mean? Well, we're a research intensive university, but we take our teaching very seriously. And 96% of our graduates go on to work or further study. So you know that there's some great opportunities for you out there when you graduate with your Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science. We're ranked 197th in the world with QS World Rankings, and 7 of our subjects are ranked in the top 100 in the world under QS subject rankings. In the last 12 years, 8 of our academics have won the Prime Minister's Supreme Award for Teaching Excellence and were 5+ stars for international quality ratings. In our Otago subject rankings, you can see we're a well-rounded university. I'm just going to pull out some top subjects like anatomy, physiology, top 35, best in the world. And you can see there that pharmacy and pharmacology is ranked in the top 150 universities in the world. And Arlene will explain how pharmaceutical science sits under those subject areas. Some other things you might not know about the University of Otago. We are the only university in New Zealand to offer dentistry and surveying, and we're one of 2 medical schools in the country. So we're very strong when it comes to the health sciences that pharmaceutical sciences sits under. 86% of our students come from outside of Dunedin, around New Zealand and around the world. They all travel to come and study and live on and around the campus. So it's a true residential university in Australasia. We offer over 195 undergraduate and postgraduate subjects, but today we're going to focus on the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences. It's not all about study. There's also a very strong sort of, for students, study and lifestyle choices. And we've got over 160 student-led clubs and societies that the students today will talk about to you as well. And we've got very strong alumni globally around the world, which means if you do go back home after you've graduated with a Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences, there's a network there that can help you with your looking for jobs, etc. But I'm very proud of this statistic. The University of Otago has been ranked 17th most photographic university in the world. And that's not photoshopped. That is what the campus looks like at the moment. It's just beautiful to study and live in. So why pharmaceutical science at Otago? The Division of Health Sciences in the university is one of the first and largest medical schools in New Zealand. And as I said before, we've got the only dental school in New Zealand. And it's also home to the oldest pharmacy school as well. We've got research active staff who are world leaders, and the wonderful thing as a undergraduate student studying at the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences is you're taught by professors, you're taught by academics who are world leaders in their research. And for a lot of high-ranking universities around the world, like Otago, a lot of undergraduate students don't get that experience until they're postgrad. So this is a real unique experience you get at Otago. And we're very proud that Otago was the first university to allow female students in and the first female medical graduate in Australasia. If you have an interest in research as well, students doing your Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science do have the opportunity to do research with academics in their summer holidays. We have those beautiful old heritage buildings, but we have state-of-the-art facilities as well. And there's a photo of the Mallow Labs that our students can be studying in their first and second years. So in the Division of Health Sciences, it's made up of 5 different schools or faculties: School of Biomedical Science, Faculty of Dentistry, Otago School of Medicine, School of Physiotherapy, and the School of Pharmacy, where the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science sits under. So I'm going to hand it over now to Arlene to talk more in depth about the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone again. So as has already been mentioned, the degree comes out of the School of Pharmacy at the university. And you can see on the diagram in the slide there, we actually offer 2 different degree programs. The one on the left is the Bachelor of Pharmacy, and that's for students that would like to go on to the professional program to work in a pharmacy and dispense medicines to patients. Today, we're going to be focusing on the box on the right, the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science. And I describe that in a nutshell as the science behind medicines. So we design and discover medicines that we can then pass over to the professional pharmacy students that will then be dispensing those in their clinics. So if we think about the essence of the degree, what's it about? Those sort of key words there that I've got on this slide. So we're thinking about, how do we discover medicines? Where do they come from? Do we look at natural sources? Do we design them in a laboratory using chemistry approaches? And then we think about how we develop those molecules into a medicine or a dosage form that a patient might use. So a tablet is a dosage form that we're all very, very familiar with. And then how do we know it's working in a patient? So what tests do we need to know that it's a quality product and that it also provides the reason that the patient is taking the medicine in the first place? So we have a number of different study options that you can do, and we'll go into a little bit more detail for you and give you some background information. But just to start with, I'd like to show you this video that goes through some of the key points, and then I'll elaborate on some of those after the video finishes.
Pharmaceutical Science at Otago is an innovative program inspiring tomorrow's scientists for a global career. The world needs more skilled scientists to contribute to the discovery, design, development, formulation and use of drugs. All of this will help protect our global health. At Otago, our world-renowned scientists and industry experts will ignite your passion, and our modern, student-centred curriculum is responsive to industry changes and needs. You will gain a unique Aotearoa New Zealand perspective, learn about rongoa Māori to understand medicines beyond Western practices. A Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science at Otago is the perfect introduction to a diverse and rapidly growing pharmaceutical industry. This lab-based degree will prepare you for further education into a PhD or a global career as a research scientist, formulation scientist and more. Build a bright future in Otepoti, Dunedin. Beautiful scenery and vibrant culture, coupled with our inclusive campus, means you'll feel right at home. Study pharmaceutical science at Otago today. Become a world-leading scientist tomorrow.
So I hope that's given you a little bit of inspiration, excitement, a little capture of what the degree is about. So there's some information there about why we would think about doing this degree. It's really special, and we're very proud at Otago to be able to offer this degree because it's the only place in Aotearoa, New Zealand, where you can study this degree. So that makes it pretty special to come here. We also are really focused and motivated to make sure students get a really in-depth understanding of a whole lot of important concepts around how we make medicines, and also other things I'll tell you about too, in terms of designing them, and make sure that students are really capable and responsive and ready to go into that work environment. And you can see a photo I've got there. There's some students in one of our undergraduate laboratories where they got to make a cream that contains some active ingredients, and you can see they got to choose different colours for them as well. So lots of hands-on stuff that we do in the degree. So in terms of the requirements, what you need to study, it's a bachelor's degree, so that requires 3 years of full-time study. As I mentioned, we focus on it being a hands-on degree. It's a laboratory-based degree, so students get really comfortable in the lab, using equipment, understanding what's happening and getting the data, and having a good grounding to support their future's career. The type of student that perhaps is interested, if you like things like maths, a little bit of chemistry, biology, these are all the things. And if you're kind of a curious person, you like to problem solve, you like a few challenges, then this degree will really satisfy those desires in your career. I like to show this slide when I'm talking about the degree. This is one of the types of medicines that we use, and it's a nanomedicine. So we're talking on the nano scale here, something so small that we can't see with the naked eye. And when we had that devastating pandemic of the COVID-19 pandemic, this really highlighted the fact that when we have a workforce that knows about how to put medicines together, we were able to very quickly come up with a vaccine that was so key in treating that pandemic. And the types of skills that you will learn in this degree can promote and help you to be one of those future medicine makers in the world. So this slide here shows you a little bit of a breakdown about the content specifically. So you see that our program starts with a health science first year at the University of Otago, and then you move on to second and third year papers with us in the School of Pharmacy. You can see that I've also got "and others" on the slide as well. So you are able to mix and match it a little bit with other courses that are offered within the university to really tailor it to the interest that you have. So if you love chemistry, you can match some of our papers with some other chemistry papers and really get a strong degree focusing on that. Or maybe you like some botany, or you might be interested in marketing and making products, and you can start to look at those sorts of aspects as well.
So students can take other papers outside of the Division of Health Sciences?
Absolutely, yep.
Oh,
so
wow.
Across the university, if you have a real interest in languages, you could do some language and start looking at business studies. So yeah, really, really diverse.
Wow,
yeah,
okay, that's great.
Fantastic opportunities. I think matching law and our degree would actually be a
with
really good thing.
and
Completely.
things like that.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
For sure.
Now, papers in other universities, they call them units, modules,
Subjects, courses,
right?
yeah,
So at
lots
Otago, the terminology is a paper.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
That's right. Yeah, it's all different, isn't it? You can see, so then once you finish those 3 years of undergraduate study, that's when you can graduate with a bachelor's, and you can see we've got some graduates near our beautiful clock tower on campus on graduation day in the photo there. There are then opportunities to then go on and do research. So we have a 1-year research year where you can focus on understanding what it's like to do research. Do you like research? Does research like you? And then you might want to continue on with things like a Doctor of Philosophy, a PhD program where you really focus on being a research scientist. So break down there about some details of the courses and the types of things. So you can see that the first year is almost the same as health science first year. There is just one subject that is different. You don't do population health, but you see that you cover off chemistry, biology, biochemistry, anatomy, physiology, and physics. So these are the basics that we will then develop into the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science degree. Then in year 2, we give you some more sort of specifics that's sort of based a little bit on pharma and the principles that you'll need to know. And then year 3 is really applying that knowledge. This is when you spend a lot more detail and trying to take that learning in second year and then developing it into sort of some more advanced topics and really cutting edge sort of stuff, what's happening. And as Victoria mentioned in her introduction, you're taught by research scientists. So people really leading the field in those different areas of study.
So it's almost like a pyramid where that year one is kind of your foundation, and then you're starting to become an expert in a certain
and focus.
specialisation.
Totally,
great.
Yeah. So that's the details of our papers. So you can see the names of them. So you start off knowing some chemistry, right? That's an important thing to understand. Drug molecules and active compounds are all based on a bit of chemistry. And then something that's quite special to the degree is this idea of formulation. So this is thinking about how we put medicines together. And as I mentioned, it's not just medicines. That's obvious from the name, pharmaceutical science. Pharma is drugs. But you can also think of it as applying to cosmetics. So using a lipstick is a formulation, right? It's color, it's a moisturizer. You're going to put it somewhere and it's going to stay there for a certain amount of hours. So that's formulation science. How you make a muesli bar is formulation. You take ingredients and you're going to combine them into a thing that's a muesli bar that you can then eat, and then you want it to be broken down in your body. Fertilizer in a paddock, right, into a field where you'll have some nutrients, and you put that onto the field and you want those compounds, those nutrients to come out at a certain time. So this is all concepts in formulation, and so why this degree can take you a whole lot further and into really diverse kind of careers as you go forward. Then in the third year, you can see we get more specific, right? So we start sort of focusing on things like, pharmacokinetics. That's a pretty cool word. So that's looking at, the concentration of drug in the body over time. So understanding when you take a medicine, where does the drug go and how quickly does it leave your body and things like that.
Fascinating.
It is. I think it's great. I'm only a little bit biased. So here's just some photographs about the things you'll study. So chemistry, as I mentioned, is important. Understanding the structures. What are those functional groups? How do you put them together? And we've got this term that we use called druggable. So what's a compound and how do we make sure that it makes a good drug or a good active? So students will spend time in the laboratory synthesizing compounds and understanding that, all with the focus to having a look at how do we put it in that little red capsule in that picture there. So how do we make a medicine from those active molecules? And then this is when we think about the drug delivery, right? So this is how do we put those things into different types of medicines. So tablets and capsules are the most common medicine, but we talked about nanomedicines in the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, but also things like asthma inhalers, injections. These are all types of dosage forms that we're interested in.
Or even patches.
Yeah, transdermal patches, exactly. Yeah, that's all delivery science. And then the reason I've got the graph there is thinking about you will learn some analytics, right? You understand how do we measure drug coming out of these dosage forms, or how do we quantify the amount of drug that's in the blood of a patient. So we need to understand all those principles and make sure people are comfortable with that. Again, a very special part of studying in New Zealand is that we have this wonderful, rich history of using natural products for medicines, as we do in other parts of the world, right? So China and all around the world, India, and in the Scandinavian regions, everybody uses natural products as a medicine. And in New Zealand, we have a beautiful flora that the traditional Māori people have used for medicine and healing as part of rongoa. And we incorporate that into our third year program. It's actually a paper that I'm involved in coordinating. So we look at taking plants, New Zealand plants, looking at the compounds that are in them. So you can see we've got those beautiful coloured extracts there. And then we were interested to know, what does that do to cells? When you put these extracts onto a cell, does it do anything? Does it get absorbed? Does it have some sort of biological function? So that really nice matching of traditional knowledge and then modernisation of medicines. How will we study? So on the left-hand side there, we've got one of our rock stars in the School of Pharmacy. So that's Associate Professor Alan Gamble. So he's one of our leading researchers, and he is really passionate also about sharing his knowledge with students. So students get to work with Alan specifically. He's talking about chemical molecules in that picture there. So that's in a kind of a lecture format where you learn directly from academics. In the middle, we've also got small group teaching or workshop teaching, and this is where you do the problem solving. You'll sit down with your colleagues and you'll try and work out questions or calculations or data, and this is a really, really rich place to learn where you can explore some ideas and get input from your colleagues and also from staff. And then the image on the right, very deliberately, it's got a big hand in the picture. It's hands-on, right? So we want students to be in the labs doing active things and learning and being really comfortable with the equipment and making sure they can get data and understand it and are happy in that sort of laboratory environment. We also want to support students in their learning. We realise that everybody learns a little bit differently, and something that we do at the university is that we record lectures. So of course we encourage students to come, and we want them to be there in person because they learn a whole lot better from us, and we also perform better when we're in front of students. But these are captured so that you can have a record of those. We've also got some other electronic resources that we use, and that's just some images about pictures that we have. So students can kind of test their learning on their own. They can study on their own and just sort of work out that they're keeping up with the material.
Okay.
Now, this is a little exercise that I just wanted to briefly sort of bring in some concepts. If we think about a tablet that we're already familiar with, we know that there's got drug in the tablet, right? And I've shown that, represented that as the green part of that aspirin, or a tablet that you would take for if you've got a headache or feeling some pain. But as well as that active drug, you can see that the rest of that tablet, most of it is white, and that represents these things that we call excipients. So these are other ingredients that we would put into a dosage form. It doesn't have to be a tablet, but in this example it is. And they're things that don't do anything to help your pain, but they help the tablet to work better in a patient. So these are part of that formulation science I was talking about. And if we go to the next slide, I'm going to show you a video of these excipients actually working. So if you have a look at what's happening in that video, that's a really simple process of taking a tablet and putting it into a glass of water. Now, as you're watching that, some words might come into your mind, right? So we can think about, maybe I should ask my panel members, but I won't put them on the spot. But we can think about, you might be seeing bubbles, right? You might be seeing motion and movement. And if you could hear it, you might be hearing a fizz or a buzz, as we've sort of got bubbles happening. And that's actually a very deliberate formulation strategy. So what's happening there is that it's a chemical reaction. It's acid-base chemistry, where we've got some citric acid and we've got the neutral water. We're putting them together, carbon dioxide's coming off as bubbles. And what's that doing is that's breaking down the tablet so it becomes a liquid. And then when we drink the liquid, the tablet works much quicker in your body. So it's very, very deliberately designed, and that means the tablet works better in a patient. You can see it's also green, right? It's flavoured. It's nice. Right. The patient likes to take it. So this is helping palatability and tablets being taken.
Interesting.
Cool. So this is some of the careers where we can go. So you can see the obvious one on the left-hand side, they're working for pharmaceutical companies that you might be familiar with. But as I've mentioned, it can also go other places. So cosmetics, agriculture, the one down the bottom there, explosives, right? Building a bomb that goes and works in mines. That's all formulation science. We mentioned being a lawyer, so matching your studies with some law can be things like a patent attorney, but you can also be a research scientist, work at a university, or for some other government departments.
And that's great. In New Zealand, international students are allowed to work with the government and government departments, which is great.
Yep.
My eyes are looking at the ice cream.
Yes.
How does that come into it?
This is formulation science again, right? We don't want it to melt too quickly, and we want to have those flavours. It's got to have a nice mouth feel. Yeah, it's got to not be too crunchy on your tongue when you're eating it. So that involves formulations. And how do you freeze them so that, you know, the taste doesn't go away? And yeah, so it's all fascinating kind of stuff. And then this is a slide again. In the introduction, you heard about this degree can take you internationally, right? So this is an example. These are graduates from a PhD program in pharmaceutical science, but you can see a number of things there, right? Diversity of companies that they're going into, different places around the world. So we've got Croatia, China, UK, Switzerland, USA, right? Our grads go places. And the other thing to note is that a lot of them are in really senior positions. So Otago is really highly regarded, and people get some fantastic positions. And yeah, these are your people. You come to do this degree, and if you go overseas and you're mentioned from Otago, this is now your network of colleagues that you can go and work on or work with in your future's career. So yeah, heaps and heaps of opportunities to go global.
It's very impressive, Mary. All right, let's just, I know you've talked about a little bit of life in the classroom, but I think we'll just talk a little bit more. This wonderful image is in St. David's, which is usually the first year students. So it can show a student how big the lecture theatre is. I'm sure Roxanne and Lily, you're looking at this and it's reminding you of your first year. But yeah, the teaching style, can you go into a little bit about that?
Sure. So as I mentioned, this is a first year process, but we have a similar, our classes at the moment are a bit smaller than this when you come on to do second and third year, but it will be an academic staff member who's standing at the front and conveying information in a sort of a format, usually about 50 minutes or 45 minutes for a lecture, and students are taking notes, and then you can go on and study that material later on.
Right, and that gives you about 10 minutes before the next lecture to get to your next lecture etc. The lectures always start on the hour and go for about 50 minutes. And then we go into those tutorials, those smaller group sessions that you were saying about. So are they taken by an academic, or is it a tutor as a senior student?
Yeah, usually it's a mixture. Some of them will be taken by academic staff, but then we also have others contributing as well. But this is a really great time to ask questions, also of each other, right? Students learning from students is hugely powerful when you sit down and you talk to each other in your own sort of ways. But this is definitely encourage students coming to tutorials. This is a really rich source of, you hear it in the lecture, you'll hear it one time, did I really understand it? Coming in the tutorial, working through something is, now I've got it. Now you can really sort of cement that knowledge. And this is the fun bit, the labs.
How long do laboratory sessions go on for?
So usually 3 hours.
Okay.
When we move into our third year papers, we have 4-hour laboratories. So that gives students real time to get involved and do a nice sort of piece of work in the labs. There's one of our first year shots, I think, from our first year labs. But really lovely facilities.
iPads, everyone's working on iPads.
Yeah, very tech. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And these are all compulsory, the lectures? Like, do people take roles to make, because I know in some US universities there's role taking, or it's all down to time management for the students? Or?
Yeah, we don't. Our laboratories are compulsory because we believe that's so important that students have got that practical knowledge. So we require students to be in laboratories. The workshops are optional, but again, I would strongly urge students to go. And lectures, again, we don't take a role. We put the power in the student to do their timetables and to appreciate that being there in person is hugely valuable, but we do acknowledge that people have other lives too, right? Sometimes things happen and they're not able to make a lecture in person, and we have a recording that can be a backup. And our academic staff are absolutely available for students. If you don't understand something, definitely get in contact.
It's an open door policy almost.
Totally, send an email and we'll come and sit down and work it out.
Excellent. Within a paper, so you've got, within a paper, you might do a couple of lectures a week, a tutorial, and maybe a 3-hour lab. When it comes to the exam at the end of that paper, is that 100% or do the laboratories add? So what I'm saying is, could a student actually, before they sit that last exam, actually have some points towards their paper?
Absolutely. Yes, yeah, for sure. So we have internal assessments. So as we go, there will be tests. There might be a lab report. Maybe there's a presentation that you need to work on, and you'll get a mark for how well you've done that. So students can build up their internal assessment, and that also gives you a feeling for how you're going, right? So you'll kind of know, I didn't really know that bit. I better go and study that a little bit more. So that's a really nice backup. And then I think every paper has a finals exam component. That's usually about 3 hours final exam. Multiple choice questions, and also questions where you get to write a little bit too, and you get practice at those during the semester.
That's great. So you could almost have passed that paper and the exams just bringing your GPA
higher up.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, so we've heard about this wonderful Bachelor program, which I think I wish I was younger. I think I'd actually enroll in. I'm just fascinated, especially the cosmetics and the ice cream and everything. So let's find out, how can you apply for this, the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science? Very easy, okay? What you want to do, it's all online. Go to the Otago University website. You can search for pharmaceutical science or Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science from the qualification page, and you'll see a yellow Apply Now button. Click on that button, and that takes you to starting up or setting up your student portal, which we call eVision. All you need, just follow the questions, and all you need is your passport or ID. And if you're coming from high school, we need your high school diploma and English proficiency if you need it. No need for SATs, no need for a statement of interest. We keep it really simple. If you are wanting, you've already started at a university and you've decided that you'd love to come to Otago and get credit transfer and come out with a Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences, then we just need you to upload your transcripts and English proficiency if you need it. And basically, we've got a team of admission staff that will get back to you if they're asking any questions, as well as staff from the international office. But at the end, remember, press that submit button, otherwise it won't go anywhere. So admission is open for 2026. It's semester 1. There's only one intake for Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science. We take applications right up until the 15th of November. That's giving you enough time then to get your visa application in to Immigration New Zealand. There is no application fee. There is no deposit. Once again, we keep it nice and simple. So you will find that you'll come out with either a conditional offer if you haven't set your English proficiency, or an unconditional offer will be sent to you. But we recommend getting those applications in by the 15th of November. If you need any help, we've got the email address international-connect@otago.ac.nz, and we have wonderful staff who are absolutely will answer any questions. There's no such thing as a silly question. So as I said before, the undergraduate academic requirements, now there's a QR code up there in the corner. If you click on that, that'll take you through into the International Office undergraduate academic requirements page. We accept a majority of national high school certificates from around the world, and you can pop the country that you are living and studying in, and it'll drop down and tell you what you need to gain to come into the university. We also accept the following international qualifications: IB diploma with a minimum of 24, GCE A levels in your top 3 subjects, at least a score of 8, which is basically a CCC, and also approval from the Otago Foundation Study Certificate and other foundation study certificates from New Zealand and around the world. So the undergraduate English requirement is an academic IELTS of 6, no band below 5.5, or a TOEFL score of 80, writing 20, but we also accept PTE, Duolingo, etc. Once again, that QR code will take you into the English requirements page, and it might even be if you're taught in English, there's no requirement for an English proficiency exam. What if you don't meet the entrance requirements? Not a problem at all. We've got our own Pathway in English Language Centre right here on campus. You are taught in lecture theatres, laboratories. You're treated just like a Otago University student while you're here. The foundation study certificate is you would go into the health science stream if you wanted to go into the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So basically, even if you applied for the Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science and we saw that you didn't have university entrance, then our admissions team would help you to apply for the foundation study certificate. Say you get a conditional offer and it's just the English and you don't want to sit that IELTS or that TOEFL, well, you can come to English for Otago, and it's a 13-week program, and you pass all your papers and then your offer becomes unconditional. So the international scholarships that we have. First of all, we've got the Vice Chancellor's Scholarship for international students. That's a value of $10,000 off your first year of tuition fee. You don't need to do anything. There's no application. It's not competitive. It's unlimited. It appears on your unconditional offer. For the University of Otago Global Scholarships, these are for passport holders from the list of countries there on the screen, and those students will receive $15,000 off their first year of tuition fees. Once again, no application is needed. It appears on your unconditional offer as long as you have university entrance. We then have University of Otago International Academic Excellence Scholarship. This is for high achieving students. We want to reward you for your hard work and your achievement. So on top of the 10,000 or 15,000, you can also apply for another 35,000 New Zealand dollars. This 35,000 comprises of your first year of accommodation, which is guaranteed, up to 20,000, so living in one of our residential colleges, which I'll talk about, as well as in your second year, you receive a scholarship value of $7,000 off your tuition fees, and third year, another $7,000 off your third year of tuition fees. So you could get actually up to $50,000 worth of scholarships. This International Excellence Scholarship is competitive. You are competing against other international students, and there is an application to fill out, and a panel assesses your application. We also have pathway scholarships for students at foundation studies. So there's $5,000 off your tuition fee when you do your foundation study certificate, and then there's opportunities for more scholarships to come into the first year of the university. Accommodation. So we have 14 residential colleges on and around the campus within 1.5 kilometres. Now, we call them residential colleges. They are better than dormitories. They are accommodation providers. And the wonderful thing about these is that you get your own bedroom. You don't share with other boys or girls. They're fully furnished. You can decorate them how you like. They're clean for you once a week, free laundry, free Wi-Fi, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. You tell us if you're vegan, you need halal, vegetarian, you've got allergies, and there are tutorials in the evening. So as well as tutorials in the university, there's also tutorials on those first year papers as well. So it's a wonderful support system. But even better is you might not know anyone, you arrive, everyone's in the same boat, everyone's away from mum and dad. You will get to know probably everyone within your college within about over a 2-week period. Students that come into these colleges, they make friends for life. It's a wonderful network, and it's a wonderful way to start your university studies. So applications have opened for the accommodations. There are 14 to choose from, and we ask for you to put down 3 of the colleges on the website that you like the look of. So I'm now going to hand it over, first of all, to Lily to tell us a little about her student story and why she chose Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I'm Lily. I'm Cha Yong Eng from Malaysia. So I'm currently doing my final year of undergraduate study at this university, doing this degree of pharmaceutical science. So I was doing my foundation with this university as well, as mentioned by
Victoria.
Victoria. Yeah, and then my first year and foundation year was off campus, so it was distant learning because of the COVID. Yeah, so I only came to New Zealand in 2023. So I have lots of fun meeting new friends, especially during the international student orientation. Yeah, and I really enjoy the scenery of New Zealand. So yeah, I'm now in the student art club, in the Otago Bird Club, and the OMSA, which is the Malaysian student club. Yeah. Aside from studying, I love cooking or baking with friends, watching movies, reading novels, and exploring the city when the weather is nice occasionally. Yeah. So yeah. And why I choose Otago is I have always been interested in drug formulation and manufacturing because I have family influences, because my dad was a surgeon in China and he is now a doctor in Malaysia. So like a really strong influences from him, yeah, to doing this drug formulation. And but during the start of my tertiary education, I was actually going to Ireland to do pharmacology. but because of the COVID again, I couldn't, like, there's a lot of problems. So eventually a friend of mine, she did her studies and PhD in University of Otago and also in the University of Auckland. She recommended this university to me. Yeah, because of its strong reputation when it comes to science and health sciences, including pharmacy. Yeah, so I was at first apply for the pharmacy, but unfortunately I didn't get the offer, and I went for the student support, and they have me certain course advisors saying like maybe you can try microbiology instead. But after that 1 year microbiology, no, not really. And then I go for the course advice again, and they say like, okay, we have pharmacology and pharmaceutical science. So I of course I did my own research, and like, yeah, pharmaceutical science, the course content is what I really want to do. Yeah, because of the yeah, like what Arlene said just now, like we have a lot of on-hands practical, and we know how to do all the formulations, what's inside that of the excipients and APIs. And then you got to design the drug computationally, like what we did using the ChemDraw and the Gold software. And yeah, that's my drug, is having a love in it. Yeah, yeah, that's lorlatinib. Yeah. And we also have a lot of lab stuff here. And then there's also the research blog that we did for the natural product paper. Yeah.
Looks like you have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And that's my uni life throughout the when I first came until now. So here we have the student club stuff, the OMSA, the student art club, and then there's also, yeah, I've witnessed the aurora of last year.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah,
the Southern Aurora.
Yeah, and then yeah, well, this
looks like it revolves a lot around food.
Yeah. Yeah, just make out.
And I can see you've got a photo there from beautiful St Clair Beach. I think that's a real selling point of Dunedin, being so close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Lily. It's really interesting. Oh, top tips.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, like what Victoria said just now, we have various supports in the university. Like you can even just flip a text. That's a live chat of Otago. So just flip them a text, and then they will answer you immediately, or get someone new to solve your problem. And yeah, go to lectures, or at least watch the recordings and find a study method that works for you. Like for me, handwritten notes works really well, but some of my friends, they can just scribble on the tablet, or like even scroll through the slides. But for me, handwritten notes works the best still. Yeah. And yeah, just eat well, sleep well, get out of your room.
That is important.
Yeah.
It is.
And stay warm. That's one of the important stuff in Dunedin. Like, yeah, just do a lot of layering. Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad weather. It's just bad clothing choices.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
Yes.
Yeah. And get involved. It looks like you are getting involved with the Bird Club and OMSA, and that's wonderful. Over to Roxanne.
Okay, hi, Aura, everyone. My name is Simi, or you can call me Roxy. I come from China. I'm currently in my second year of studies pharmaceutical science at University of Otago. I get like very strong support from my family, and they really encourage me to like go overseas to see the world and to experience different lives. So I came to here. Like thanks for their help. And the study abroad has given me a chance to explore the world scenery, reflect the pressure of different education system, especially in China, the education is quite different. But here I have more freedom to explore my own things, like my favorite things and what I'm really interested in. Yeah, and here at Otago, I think the different thing is that the course here are more supportive. The lectures, tutorial, and the lab really help students to understand the study. Yeah, And also I enjoy skiing, drawing, cooking, swimming, a lot of hobbies. Yeah, this really keep me happy and balance my studies.
Great. Did you know how to snowboard before you came?
Yeah.
You did.
I tried, but the snowfield here are more amazing.
Yeah, it's about 3.5 hours away from Dunedin.
Yeah.
Spoiled.
Why I choose Otago is because this program is excellent. I finished my first 2 years in China, and last 2 years here, I experienced different education system, and I do love the education here. I think the lab is the most fantastic things. The facilities are really new, and the teacher really helps students to know how to operate everything and to training over skill and thinking. And also the Dunedin is absolutely beautiful city. Yeah, and also I think the woman in New Zealand enjoy high social status. There's also a very important reason why I choose Otago, especially when I met teachers like Professor Aline and Professor Natalie. Like, they are very wise and strong women, and the examples have given me a lot of confidence.
Oh, that's great.
Why I love Dunedin at Otago? Yes, professors are supportive, like no doubt, and student support is really excellent. When I first came here, I have trouble with my contract accommodation, and the student support helped me to contact the lawyer and other things and help me to fix the problem, and this all free. And they are really kind people. Yeah, and safe and friendly city like New Zealand, worldwide safety country, and beautiful nature, relaxed lifestyle, and the things I wish I know. Yeah, it's okay to ask for help, especially for like shy Chinese. Yeah, and it's balanced habits with a study. Yeah.
Excellent. And what are your top tips?
It just stay organized, because when I suddenly have no such as busy study plans, I have a lot of free time to do my own things, but it's really hard to organize the things. Like, if I spend more time on this, what about my study? So need to try, like everybody have their own balance and their own style. Yeah, and I think the second, like sleep exercise, help a lot. Yeah, that's true. And have a problem, we can go to the student support. They can give amazing advice, and also try new things. I try a lot of new things here, like travel with my friends and snowboarding, but by my own this time. Yeah, and also join clubs and activities, make friends. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, thank you, Lily and Roxanne. The wonderful tips, and I think it's going to give students a real true feeling of what it's like to be a student and studying and living here. So thank you. Okay, well, we're actually into frequently asked questions from students. So I'll just open that up to everyone. I think the first one, Arlene, is probably best to come from you. What is the difference between pharmacy, pharmacology, and pharmaceutical science?
Yeah, this is a question we get a lot, and it's very understandably a bit confusing, right? They've all got pharma in the beginning. So pharmacy is the professional program, and that is where you will be involved with talking to patients and dispensing medicines, maybe in a community pharmacy. So on the high street or in the city, you'll go and receive your medicines from somebody. So that's pharmacy and the professional program. Pharmacology is part of what we do in pharmaceutical science. So it's a more focused discipline where we really understand what the drug and the body, their interactions between those two things. But when I was speaking, I hope you got the idea that pharmaceutical science is a whole lot broader. So we incorporate the beginning of the chemistry, but we go all the way up to looking at what a medicine is and how it works in the patient. So pharmacology is part of that study within pharmaceutical science, but we go a whole lot broader.
Is the program flexible? So we talked about health sciences first year. Does it allow me to enter? You did talk about that at the start. or from a Bachelor of Science?
Yeah. Yeah, so flexibility is key to what we do. So we're able to sort of substitute and change things around because life changes, right? People's ideas and what they think they want to study can change with experience. So yes, you can come into our degree as long as you meet the first year requirements. So if you've done those first year papers, you can then come and do our second and third. We have had some situations where people will do our second year papers maybe at the same time as one of the first year papers that they haven't completed. So that's a possibility. It's a little exception, but we can try and work around that. The other cool thing you've mentioned about a BSc there is we find that we've got students that are doing Bachelor of Science and they might just want to come into our degree and take 1 or 2 papers just for a flavour, just a little taste about this pharmaceutical science stuff. So that's also an option. You can come and just do a little bit, which is great because then our students also mix together too, right? You're not only seeing the same people all the time in lectures, you're getting to mix with other groups of students across. Yeah.
And there's a student development team staff that are there to help any students map out their degrees and papers, as well as the staff at the Department of Pharmaceutical Science. So lots of support for figuring out. It's a bit of a journey, isn't it, Lily? Figuring out what you want to do. It's very flexible in Otago, which is quite hard to get around a lot of students and parents' heads overseas. That it is a very flexible degree. We've also talked about what are the academic expectations, but can you sort of add on a little bit about that?
So we want students to be able to achieve, right? Everybody wants to be successful. So we do what we can to do that. But, you know, we expect students to be a little bit dedicated to what they're doing. They've chosen to do this study, so we want students to come to lectures, to come to labs. And so there is some work, right? So there's a face-to-face time, so where you're required to, we'd like you to come to the lecture and in the lab, but there is also study time that's associated with that. So you will need to be in the library and maybe working on an assignment or studying for some exams. So there is that, you know, we would like students to put in the effort and then you'll get rewarded with great grades.
So there is a bit of time management, which you alluded to as well, Roxanne, as well. What is the best preparation at high school for entering this degree? And does a person actually have to have maths?
Yeah, maths is important. I think maths is a lot of fundamental to what we do. Chemistry, if you like chemistry, that also helps a lot. And physics can also be something that's advantageous. But you will get to learn some of these things in the first health science first year suite as well. If you're not so strong in chemistry, you can get to do some. But yeah, a little bit of maths is useful. I don't know if the students have any other comments about that, what you might need to know before doing these papers.
I actually, for the pharmacokinetics part, that we did some we just touched a little bit of statistic, but it's not as deep as like what I learned in high school of Malaysia. Like additional maths. It's not as deep as that, but just like we just touched on a little bit of like integration of differentiation. That's it.
So it's recommended, but it's not a requirement. If a student has not done maths at high school, that's not stopping you from going. Apply, definitely.
Sure.
Okay, what resources and student services are available at the Pharmaceutical Science for students? You also have been talking about the support, the wonderful support you have. And you've both been talking more about the support that the university has as well.
So just to add to that, I don't think I've mentioned that we have a dedicated, so as well as the staff who are also super enthusiastic about sharing their knowledge and more than happy to spend with students. We've also got a teaching fellow. So this is a person that is just a dedicated staff member that their job is to just teach students. So they will deliver lecture content or lab content, but they're also available for students to meet one-on-one and talk about things. So we have a dedicated staff member that is there to really focus on learning and supporting.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great resource to have, and we're going to grow it as we get bigger. There'll be more of those. But I've mentioned the electronic sort of support that we have and recordings, and then the university's got different support services and tutorials that are available.
And I think it's important. I think Roxanne, you said everything's free. You know, so all these wonderful support services you were talking about, the careers and international student support and the department and library, everything's free for the students, which is wonderful. Okay, so if you have enjoyed this webinar, you think that Otago is the university for you, we'd love you to be following us on our social media platforms. Our Instagram and Facebook, we have a lot of student stories, so you'll get a really good feel for what it's like to study, to live, to socialise at the University of Otago, and beautiful photos as well. So please, if you haven't already, follow us on one of our social media platforms there. So that comes to the end of our webinar. I just want to say thank you so much, Arlene. Thank you, Roxanne, Lily. It's been wonderful listening to your stories and hearing about the program. And as I said before, if I was a bit younger, do they take mature students?
Oh, sure. Come on.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do that. Change of career.
Excellent. Especially like the cosmetics bit.
Yeah.
So look, thank you very much. And we're really looking forward to welcoming you next year to the University of Otago.